Welcome back to another episode of Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. RPF, obviously a big show today because the NFL season is officially over. But before we dive into that big, huge game that just happened this past weekend, you can listen to us everywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Podbean, all the great platforms. You can also find us socially over on Instagram and X, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. Just head to any of those platforms and in the search bar, type in Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. Will pop right up for your listening pleasure. That was typing, not jazz hands.
I was like, a little Bob Fosse typing action there.
RPF. Obviously, there's nothing to really tease. Everybody knows what we're going to talk about.
But before all that, this is the Super Bowl of Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF podcast. This is our season finale, season 4, episode 24. We've been through the slog through the entire season 4. It's been this roller coaster of emotion and me being mostly right. But having said all that, I am excited to get into this epic game, epic entertainment,
yes,
epic commercials, and my last of the season Aaron Rodgers Memorial Asshole of the Week award.
Perfect. Perfect.
So
all right, well then let's get right into it.
Jump in. Okay.
Let's get right into it. Let's just go. How'd the game go for you? Thoughts?
Well, just
general reactions
for the 3 people that were living underground.
Highest rated game ever.
Well,
I mean, I think we knew that.
That was going to be the end of my thing, but thank you. Yes, it was. You have a long history of stomping around my body parts. Anyway, starting with the fact that this is actually Kansas City Chiefs won 25-22 in overtime.
Yep.
Epic, right?
It was.
Not for nothing, but as of a few days ago, I called Kansas City Chiefs 27-24. So 2 points off.
So you were wrong.
I was wrong. Price is Right rules apply, so I was over. I was over. But that was as close as I've gotten to a prediction for Super Bowl, I don't know, ever. So I was very happy about that. Okay. So I broke it down to winners and losers, as Americans do so often. So to keep it with the America theme of the Super Bowl being the greatest, unofficial holiday in this country.
Can we just make it a holiday?
Monday should be the holiday.
Jeez.
Monday should be the holiday.
Anyway,
it's exhausting.
No.
I mean, Monday mornings are like, oh my God, really? I had to Anyway,
I'd love to see stats on the amount of business that doesn't get conducted in the United States on the Monday after Super Bowl.
In Eastern Missouri, for sure. I want to see how much work got actually done Monday morning in the Kansas City. By the way, for those politicians who believe that Kansas City is not in Missouri, it is. Anyway, so if you know,
it's in both.
Well, it's like saying, it's like a sliver of Kansas. It's like FYI for those insiders, no one wants to live in Kansas City, Kansas. Okay, it's like it's a little not exactly. Mahomes ain't building his $20 million mansion there. Trust me. Okay, all right. Anyway, okay. Anyway, we're getting off track already.
Anyway,
all right.
Yeah, we are.
Winners and losers. The winners, and then you can tell me what you think. Winners.
Okay.
In these, and not in order, but these are just winners of this game. The Chiefs, obviously. But you know why? No, I'm just saying that as an organization.
Dynamite breakdown.
I'm a sports expert for a reason, okay? The Chiefs, because they're now officially, without any question marks on it, they're a dynasty. So they're the only team that is now eligible to go for a three-peat. And more on that later, but there's no debate. This is a dynasty. Mahomes isn't even, he's 28 years old. And so, anyway, the second winner, Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes. He is indisputably the baby goat. So there's no argument who the goat is. But the baby goat, there's no argument there either. Anyone under 30 who's achieved what he's achieved, and is like, by the way, the fact that he achieved this with that team isn't great.
Yeah.
That's Mahomes.
Right.
That's Mahomes. All right.
I'm not refuting any of this.
Okay, good.
Which is
winner,
awkward, Yep.
Also, to be literally flung into the planet's most public love story. It's a lot.
Yes.
And not for
Yeah.
nothing.
I,
Hang on, I'm almost done. Not for nothing.
okay.
His transition from Beastie Boys, you have to fight for your right to party, to Elvis, Viva Las Vegas, was seamless. Very impressive. Tell me, John.
Yeah. Okay. We finally disagree.
Okay, go ahead.
That was stupid, but.
But have you seen any of the celebrations with Tom Brady and Edelman and that crowd and Gronk? I mean, stupid is the definition of what happens
I
after
saw all
the
of them.
you know.
I saw all of them.
Well, exactly. Well, then that's stupid because you were all a flutter because you're BFF, so we're all kind of winning.
He was trying too hard to make something of it and trying to make it a thing. He should have stuck. I don't think he should have done the Elvis. He should have just stuck with his Beastie Boys thing.
I agree with that. And Vegas, because people,
it worked, and I'll give him that. And in fact, it was cool when he was up on the stage. It was cool because he said, you got to fight for your right, and the whole stadium, screamed.
You know why? Because
that was awesome.
Viva Las Vegas was too specific to Vegas, and 2/3 of the crowd wasn't from Vegas.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, all right.
Right, and that's what I mean. And he was, it was almost like he was trying too hard to like trademark a moment.
But this is on the margins.
Like,
this is emotional.
I was
it's
like,
in the moment.
yeah.
But my favorite moment of Kelsey was when they kept showing the next day on NFL, whatever that the NFL voice of NFL
show,
the show, whatever, the friggin' sanctioned NFL show. They showed that last play that won the game. Literally, Kelsey was like just went 3 yards and looked up to the jumbotron a full 4 seconds before the guy caught it. He knew it was going to be a touchdown, so he just looked up. He stopped playing and just looked up to celebrate before the pass was thrown. Amazing. Okay. Anyway,
it was wide open.
Wide open. Right? I mean, wide open. Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
So hang on, real quick. I'm gonna push back in a good way on that one a little bit. I think Kelsey played better than what was actually perceived on TV and in the stats. If I'm not mistaken, I think at halftime, I think he had like 1 yard receiving.
1 yard.
Like that.
1 yard.
Yeah, and he ended up with 90-ish, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
He very much took over that second half and said, all right, damn it, let's do this.
It was also Mahomes, though, I mean, in a sense, because Mahomes decided to target him. And there's two other things about that. Kelsey also, I didn't give him that ultimate kudos because he once again was barking at Andy Reid and bumped him inadvertently, that type of shit. I know emotional, but look, go back in your sandbox, okay? Just relax for a second. Secondly, because he was mad that he wasn't in the game when the turnover happened with the Pacheco fumble. So then the other thing is, then what's his face, number 4, the wide receiver Rice, was upset because when Kelsey was targeted by Mahomes in the end zone, he was covered and the ball didn't go anywhere. Rice was wide open for a touchdown, and Rice was like, "Why are you always targeting Kelsey? He could be the distraction. I could be the winner." So I think that may have played into the game-winning pass because Kelsey was the one that was right next to the actual guy who caught it. Anyway, so that's Kelsey for me. Then another winner is Chris Jones. Chris Jones didn't do much, or didn't do like headline exploding things. Chris Jones, by the way, is the all-world defensive end for the Chiefs. That really is just unbelievable. But that last play, the most critical play of the game, of all the plays that were critical, was the third down in overtime for the Niners on the 5-yard line. Chris Jones was unbelievably untouched, not unblocked, untouched. He said after the game, he said, "I thought it was Christmas." He thought, or a screen behind him, right? How could he be untouched? I mean, you don't forget Chris Jones, do you? Anyway, so that's a coaching play. So Chris Jones is a winner in this case. Taylor Swift, because my God. All right, Andy Reid. Andy Reid is now in the not quite goat-ish conversation.
Do you think? Hang on, real quick. Do you think maybe just for one night, it was Taylor Swift was Travis Kelce's girlfriend and not Travis Kelce being Taylor Swift's boyfriend? You know what I'm saying?
No.
You can't have it for one night.
No.
Just-
I mean, no. This is why I think the intangible went. She was one of my intangibles for the Chiefs winning.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I remember.
Okay.
I remember.
Yes, you do remember. Which, by the way, two people who called me during this celebration called me and said, "You were right. Jonah was wrong." It was pretty funny. Anyway, although people are paying attention, so that's good. All right. I think Andy Reid is not in the GOAT-ish conversation yet. Obviously, he's no Bill Belichick with his 11 rings or whatever the fuck he has, but he does enter the top 5 combo for sure all time. I think he's in the Chuck Noll, Don Shula, Tom Landry combo for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that's very interesting. And anyway, we'll come back to him too. Also a winner, Chiefs Kingdom. Chiefs Kingdom. I was watching. I've been looking at them. That's what they call the fan base. And they have been nothing but supportive for the whole Taylor distraction, which other teams could have been really upset about. They were all in. They would sing songs with her, whatever, the whole thing. And they also were not in despondent. In fact, they were Super Bowl champion. They were the reigning champion fan base, but they didn't go crazy. I mean, the Dolphins, if we have a drop ball, it becomes the end of the universe for our fan base because of our history. But the confidence that Chiefs Nation had, I thought that Chiefs Kingdom had, I thought that was a very, 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 very good win for them. Also, the city of Las Vegas is a winner to me. They handled these 2 weeks perfectly. It's like they were built or created from sand to host this type of spectacle.
Well, they are. I mean, that's
my
what
point.
Vegas is for.
Las Vegas has made the argument not to be a great host city for Super Bowl, to be the only host city for Super Bowls. I mean, the draft the draft is there every year. Why not make it just permanent? Las Vegas has an indoor stadium. It's built in.
The draft is not there every year.
Oh, it's not. Okay, but I'm just saying that. I mean, it's built for that. I mean, Vegas. I mean, who doesn't want to go to Vegas for 2 weeks? I mean, that's crazy town. And then the last winner, I consider, is Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey entered with all the hopes of the entire, 49er faithful, on his back.
Yeah.
And he was doing great the first drive, and then he fumbled. Christian McCaffrey is human. He didn't whine.
Yeah.
He didn't hang his head.
Nope.
He went right back at it, and my God, was he good. He was this close from taking that team on his back and winning that game. So he has every right to hold his head up high, and that team has every right to be really expectant to be in that game next year because of that guy. Anyway, so then those are my winners. Anything else that you consider a winner that I didn't mention?
No, not really. I'll just give you kind of my general thoughts on the game. It's a game that I think, fortunately, it's a game that when I look back at it, there's nothing to say. There's no bad calls. There's no, there's no, oh my gosh, did you see this? Oh, if that didn't happen.
Well, the refs, I think the restraint with the refs was good, was very good.
Yeah, it was just a great game. It really was. Yeah. Obviously, I wanted the Niners to win, but they didn't. But it was just, I can't sit there and say, oh, they should have won or this. Like either team could have won, and at the end, to your point earlier, Mahomes just became the baby goat, and it kind of, if he wasn't already.
Yeah, but this solidified that discussion.
This solidified it, and to your point about it, kind of ties in with the fan base there. And the confidence that they had, it reminded me a lot of Tom Brady and the Patriots, and it was the same thing. Like when it was almost like I almost felt better. When the Patriots were in their prime, I almost felt better when we went into halftime losing because I was like, oh, watch this, they're gonna get pissed off and they're gonna come back in the second half and be like, no.
Although the Falcons Super Bowl was a little nervy for you, I'm sure.
We will get my wife on this podcast. You can ask her at halftime. I said, honey, don't worry. Cue the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history.
Or I'll never have sex again. Luckily for you.
But seriously, Mahomes, it's become that. It's become that to where like when they're losing they go in losing at halftime, and you're like, yeah, so what?
You know,
Like,
it's funny. I have a
this
friend of
means
mine.
absolutely nothing.
I have a friend of mine who's actually a Chiefs fan, which is way before Mahomes actually. And he calls me and says, I'm feeling a little bit like what the Patriots must have felt like, because I'm getting all this kind of like weird hate from people who have nothing to do with me. It's like, why am I involved with your life? Like you're a Bills fan, enjoy, whatever, whatever. Anyway, it's very funny. He was like, I'm getting a little bit of like that, like fallout from like the whole Brady years, stuff. So it's pretty funny. All right, so those are my winners. You want to hear my losers?
Yeah.
Here are my losers.
Yeah, let's hear them.
Mike Shanahan.
Oof, yeah.
Wait for it.
Not only it's so painful to say it,
I'm sorry.
You feel bad.
I'm sorry.
This
is a game of winners and losers. Yeah. Mike Shanahan. This is the third Super Bowl, twice as head coach, that he has lost the Super Bowl, I'll say it slowly, after leading by 10 points or more.
Yeah, I know.
That's numero uno loser status, still proven otherwise. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
The 49er faithful, I think, lost. They had the best team in football this whole year. They've lost 2 Super Bowls where they were favored within 4 years, twice. This is dangerously close to Buffalo Bills territory.
Until you lose 4 in a row.
Well, wide left, the wide left or wide right? I keep forgetting.
Right, it was wide right.
Wide right, yeah. Right.
And it's sad because I only know that because of this year.
Right, exactly. Oh, right. Do you see those memes? And not memes. Those videos of the fans that were like blowing on the TV, so it would go wide right. Or the other guy. You see the San Francisco Niner fan that actually had a party of 200 people in his house, and he has a TV screen. I've never seen a TV screen this large. He took it off the wall and started like just beating like the wall again. I was like, oh my god.
What is wrong with people?
What is wrong with people? I mean,
come on.
And everyone's in the audience, and everyone's in the crowd just like eating popcorn, just watching.
Well,
I think
Jim.
that's a little bit of the like nothing's outrageous moment anymore. It's all kind of like, all acceptable. All right, the other loser I think is George Kittle. I don't think but not because of the loser. He wasn't a factor. He was a non-factor.
Yeah.
And if it took Kelsey shaking up Andy Reid to say, keep me in, coach, Kittle didn't do, at least seemingly much, to alter the narrative. And he's an imposing, we talked about this, he's like, it was a tie, or you gave him the edge. Oh, you gave Kelsey the edge. But it's a very, very, it wasn't like, he's a significant chess piece, and he wasn't played at all. So that's a big no. And I think the San Francisco coaching staff writ large, 7 players have now come out for the Niners and admitted they had no idea about the overtime rules in the playoffs being different than the overtime rules in the Chiefs. Conversely, played out this scenario. They practiced this in preseason during training camp.
Yeah.
Super Bowl, last drive, overtime. What did we do? We defer, let them get the ball first. They score a touchdown, we go for 2. The whole team knew this. It was a mantra. Nobody, including the head coach, had any idea, apparently. Because what did they do? They win the coin toss. I'm thinking, if you watch any college football, you never take the ball in overtime. You always have to let the other guy see what they do, so then you know what to do to win.
Right. And
they go, oh, we'll take the ball. I'm like, because that's the old overtime rule. You score a touchdown, you win the game. Anyway, that's a coaching error, and that's a loser on the whole 49er Shanahan.
Fair. Yep.
Okay.
Fair.
So here's the thing. Here's my overall takeaway. Mahomes, Kelsey, and Reid are going for immortality now, as the only team to ever repeat a Super Bowl. That alone has kept the band together, right? Mahomes and Kelsey were going to be together. Reid was like, I'm old. Let me enjoy my life. I'm exhausted from these people. How many more State Farm ads can I possibly do? I just, or whatever the commercial is for Progressive or whatever. Yeah.
It's State Farm.
Okay. Anyway, so the point is that this keeps the band together another season. Who's the ultimate winner? It is Chiefs Nation or Chiefs Kingdom.
Yeah.
So that is, there's no reason to doubt. If they can win the Super Bowl with this team, with those receivers, with that distraction, with my beloved T Swizzle, and win, and here's the punchline, the odds makers have still made them the underdogs next season already. The Chiefs, they just won Super Bowl. They've repeated.
Who's the favorite, do you know?
It's the Ravens and Niners are tied for. There's a long tradition of the teams who lose the championship game to kind of be bumped up to the next level. Just,
Yeah.
Anyway, but we'll get to that in season 5. I'm not worried about that right now. All right. So that is my recap for the game itself. Any additional thoughts on the game?
No. I've already laid out kind of how I feel about it, and everything. Weirdly, everything you've mentioned, I pretty much agree with.
Weirdly, I mean, that's pretty. I mean, once I got past my my Chiefs are a winner category, I think I got. I think I nailed it pretty well. All right.
No, it was a great game. There's really nothing I can say about it. Again, like I said, I wanted the Niners to win. They didn't, but there's nothing I can say about it. It was a great game all around.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the better players, basically Mahomes stepped up and said, "I'm better than you, Brock Purdy."
Well,
and he is,
even last week,
obviously.
Last week we said it's going to come down to the last drive, either side. And by the way, it came down to the last drive for both teams. Right?
Yeah.
Brock Purdy could have been Brock Purdy. Could have been that guy.
Yeah.
He could have been that guy. We could still be playing. If they scored.
Right. And that's kind of what I mean. And thank you for actually kind of summarizing better than I did. Is it did come down to both drives, and so when you've got Mahomes doing one drive and Purdy doing the other drive, what happened was what we expected would happen. Right? You give Mahomes the chance for a game-winning drive, and he's going to take it. You give Brock Purdy the chance for a game-winning drive, and it's like, he might. And that's kind of what happened. He
almost.
They got a field goal, they scored, but
But you know what? But Mahomes got them. He was shrugging. Everything got quiet. Everything got easy. Mahomes was just. I mean, I hate it when he's playing the Dolphins, of course, but he was so much fun to watch that last 7 plays. He was just like, I got this. I mean, I got this. I got
that
this.
last drive. If I'm not mistaken, that last drive he was 8 for 8.
But I'm saying, but that last drive he had to be perfect because one turnover, it's over. Anything, By the way, we forget it was 4th and inches in the first.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, and I kept thinking, if they hand this ball off, I swear to God, I was gonna lose my mind. And what did they do? No, give it to the best player on the planet. Good call. Scamper for 22 yards. Anyway,
Yep.
So that's the game. All right. Now the other side.
That's the game.
Now the other side of my brain being tickled. This is why I love this day so much, because it's not only football at the highest level, it's like pop culture and entertainment at the highest level.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
Or allegedly. There are 4 categories. I broke it down. 4 categories for entertainment. I'm calling it. So the best entertainment of the afternoon was Andra Day, the soul singer, who is Grammy winning, but not internationally known as someone else, but she has a beautiful voice. She sang "Lift Every Voice and Sing," which is the unofficial anthem for African Americans. It was controlled and yet emotional, and it was powerful, and it was perfection. I could not enjoyed it more. Fantastic. Very good is my next category. Who was very good? To me, Post Malone was very good. He did an acoustic version of "America the Beautiful," and it was haunting and memorable. How many times have we heard "America the Beautiful"? Right? It was like something little raw about it. And it was like Chris Stapleton-ish, but a little bit more polished. It was just exactly what we needed before the main chorus, which was my next category, just okay category of the national anthem sung by the icon in country music, Reba McEntire.
Yeah.
To put a pin on it, meh.
Yeah.
It was just okay, because I think she was a little bit overreaching. She was trying for big moments that her voice doesn't lend itself to, and we don't expect her to. I mean, she's not like Faith Hill, who can belt out like anybody. She's definitely in her lane. She's like a Gloria Stefan or a Dolly, that we love their voice, but we don't need to hear all the dynamic and power. And Reba tried to become like Reba Whitney for a minute, and it kind of didn't land for me anyway. But it was okay. She didn't embarrass herself or anything. I think we need it in that moment for sexual. I want a Kelly Clarkson. I want a Jennifer Hudson. I want Pink. I want Adam Lambert. I want people.
I mean, I was gonna save my critique of all these categories for when you were done. But I'll be I'll be blunt with you. When they announced Reba McEntire as the anthem singer, I was like, why?
I know.
It's
Weird
like,
part
what?
is also it's weird because that Reba McEntire is now the big star on The Voice, which is on NBC, which is our rival network. So I kept
Yeah.
thinking, of all the people allowed, I mean, why not Adam Lambert or Pink, Kelly
Yeah.
Clarkson, Jennifer Hudson? I mean, these are
Yeah.
monumental voices.
I hear you.
All right, and then in the final category of not good / lost opportunity category is Usher, or otherwise known as
Okay.
Usher, for people in the Midwest. Um, yeah. Okay, these are my points on Usher, the halftime show.
Okay. All right.
It felt small. It didn't feel epic. And there's two reasons for that. I think, one is the camera choices, the director's choices, were to zoom in this half frame, and even though TV production, they didn't do the epic shots a lot. They just kind of went in on him. And it felt like the opening 10 minutes of his Vegas residency, which you could play well in that crowd, but you're playing to a billion people. You know, you have to be epic in this moment. You know, like epic with Prince, J-Lo, you know, these type of moments that were epic, right? Even Rihanna last year, 8 months pregnant, she was like 80,000 feet up in the air. I mean, you're like, what? Don't fall, woman. Anyway, so it felt small.
Well, he did get on roller skates.
Well, that's my point. Yeah, and I'm going to that. Also, his vocals were uneven. It was uneven vocals. You were like straining to hear what song was that, what hook was that, what song was that. This is a 30-year career that I know all his songs, or his big songs, big hits. Half the time I'm like, all right, that's not good. Mic issues at Super Bowl, not good. And they were literal, and I went and played it back. They were dead moments. They were full 2-second, 3-second moments that were just like in action. Nothing was happening. And that doesn't happen in Super Bowl when you have 13 minutes to make everything epic. Now, in his defense, the best moments, well, not really his defense, but in the show's best moments, were Alicia Keys' solo. All of a sudden, you pop to attention when Alicia Keys in that red gown at the piano. Boom.
Sure. Well, that was. In fairness, that was also his first guest.
I understand.
So you're kind of glued to like, oh, who's it going to be?
But you know who popped? Ludacris. In his rap cameo, he popped off the screen. He was amazing. Ludacris, Ludacris. You know, he was like, you all of a sudden you're thinking, why didn't he do the show? I'd be like, yeah, Ludacris, go. You know, remember the hip hop Jay-Z extravaganza a couple seasons ago in LA? That was like, oh my God, could that be more epic, right? That was amazing. And also the roller skate dancing, hats off. That's Usher. What Pink is to like the cable, when she spins above the
Right.
the gymnastics, the aerial.
I don't know what you call it, but yes, I know.
Yeah, the aerial fabric, unfortunate, doing laundry above the stage thing that she spins around.
I got caught in my laundry.
I got caught in my sheets and I can't find the corner to put it on bed. Dancing with like perfect breath control and power. Pink takes that one. I don't think there's ever been a roller skate dancer better live than Usher at that moment. Highlight of his performance. And then, of course, when he took his shirt off, ripped his shirt off, listen, 45-year-old body, good on you. More time with a dancing coach, choreographing or at least directing the right moment. Maybe one less rep in the gym, and you will have a perfect balance, in my opinion. But for my eyes, a 45-year-old body like that, it's hard not to show it, right? So good for him. All right. He also didn't play to a global audience. It was very insular. It felt like he was like playing for his friends or something. It was a very, very strange dynamic. It's funny because there's a one cutout shot in a different angle. They showed that they had the Taylor Swift box, the Kelsey Mahomes family box. Then they had two boxes over was the Kim Kardashian box that had Justin Bieber and other people that equally powerfully famous people there. And if you know anything about the whole background, Taylor Swift and the Kanye, Kim, the dynamic, they're not really friends. Kim Kardashian's box was literally just like people were just sitting there with hands folded on their laps during the performance, and Taylor's and Kelsey's box where people were just like screaming and dancing and knowing all the words, and it was a very interesting dynamic for those two. I think, unfortunately for Usher, this will be forever ranked among the very worst performances, and way behind all his contemporaries that have been performing. So, and he wanted to make this weekend epic, which is so sad. He got married to his longtime girlfriend this weekend in Vegas, thinking this will top off the most magical weekend ever. That midnight chapel quickie married by Elvis will be the highlight of your weekend. Trust me, you will not want to remember this performance. So anyway, so that's my assessment of the entertainment for Super Bowl.
Okay, all right. I agree yet disagree.
Hard to say.
I thought the worst of all of it was Reba McEntire. Sorry, Reba.
Yeah. I was trying to be nicer, but
it just wasn't. From the moment they announced who the singer was, I just wasn't pumped. It just doesn't have pipes. Like you said, she's a country icon. By all means, a great singer, but not a balladeer. Not someone who's going to blow you away. So, for me, if I was going to rank these, I'd put her below Usher. Usher, I didn't feel as strongly negatively as you did about Usher. The dancing and all that stuff. I thought it was fine.
But to be clear, just for me, it wasn't negative. I felt bad that he lost this opportunity. It was.
I don't think he did really.
Okay. All right.
I mean, he got put on the biggest stage, and to your point, like he thought this was going to be a huge weekend. It, by all accounts, still is a huge weekend for him. Like, hey, what happened last weekend? I played at the Super Bowl and I got married. Like, critics' remarks about
and
what his performance was
good.
like. Critics' remarks about what his performance was like probably won't alter his opinion of how his weekend went. I thought it was okay. Like, I get your point. There was no like grandiose, like Lady Gaga fell in from the top of the stadium, and Rihanna was up on those I don't even know what you call them, those platforms, floating platforms, and there was nothing grandiose to that degree.
But even showmanship, like Prince was just standing there in the rain.
But
being Prince.
I think my pushback would be, so what is Usher's sort of unique offering, right? And it's his dancing. So I think that's why there's so much close up, so that you didn't miss any of the dancing.
I personally would have enjoyed a more epic ending to Yeah, which is his huge international hit. That would have been everyone on stage, everyone doing the same choreography, and also the fact that he dressed the same as the other dancers. We lost him a little bit in the crowd. Like even with Katy Perry or Bruno Mars and all these people in Madonna, they were always like similarly dressed, but they had the red or the pop of yellow or something that propped them up. Beyonce was like in formation, but she didn't dress like the like the girls behind her. She was Beyonce. He was like blending in as a dancer, but I needed him to be a star, and that's the thing that I think that was missing a little bit. And I'm not saying it's all his choices. It could be the director, the producers. I'm just saying Usher's great. I love Usher. I have all his songs.
I will say this: my first remark when he started, my first remark was I said, "Is he dancing on the field?" Meaning like there is no stage. He was dancing on the on the turf, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
I'm sure I'm sure the kickers all appreciated that. Okay, now we move on to my co-favorite part of this, my three-part favorite things are the television commercials. The most highly anticipated commercials, and as you mentioned last week, that you asked me how I felt about so many of these commercials have already been debuted before, and I made it a conscious effort to literally not see anything I could. I did not see any. I saw like a still photo here and there. You can't help yourself. You were scrolling, but I did not say, here's the new commercial for whatever. No. I literally just sat there and absorbed all these commercials.
I've got two thoughts on the commercial previews, but I'll save them for when we're done.
Okay. I have the top five, best five in descending order, and I have the worst five in descending order.
So let me start this conversation real quick, because for me, there's build-up, like, the Super Bowl commercials. Oh my gosh. For me personally, this was a very meh year. Mm-hmm. With that said, there were a few standouts, but I wasn't that enthusiastic about what happened. So, I'll let you go from there.
Thank you. All right, I don't disagree about that in a general sense. There were a lot. There were 65, I think 56 commercials, of which 45. I'm like, just get the F away from me. You know, just.
So part of my remarks about the how you can see them ahead of time. So when I saw the shitty ones ahead of time, it was great because then I could go to the bathroom.
I will say,
they'd come on the TV.
A large percentage
and I'd be like,
of the.
oh, this one sucks. I'm going to the bathroom.
A large percentage of the ones that were terrible were already shown before, apparently. Yeah. All right. So here's my number 5 best commercial for Uber Eats: the Jennifer Aniston, David Schwimmer, the Ross Rachel reunion. But that's the centerpiece there. And anytime I get to watch Jennifer Aniston perform so naturally, she just pops off the screen. She's great. I love her so much. But the kind of the co-champion here are kind of the sneaky couple of the decade contenders are David and Victoria Beckham. They're trying to. The whole premise of the commercial was like, if you remember Uber Eats, you have to forget something to have that. So then Jennifer Aniston forgot that David Schwimmer was her co-star for 10 years, and then David and Victoria Beckham forgot the name of the Spice Girls. She kept saying the Saffron Beauties or whatever it was. It's so silly that it's funny. It works. You know?
It was good.
And they got the right people. They got the right couples and right people to. Anyway, so I thought that was very, again, not like hair on fire, fantastic. It was fun. It was nice. All right. Number 4, anyone who follows my Instagram on Saturdays in particular would know this to be a no-brainer for me. It's not Saturday, but it's Catterday. So the Hellmann's mayonnaise with the talking cat saying meow meow. I mean, I'm sorry, it's so effing funny.
You know what? I mean, obviously, I don't think this is gonna blow or shock anyone. What made that commercial was Kate McKinnon.
Oh, Kate McKinnon. That's the thing. Well, that's the whole point. These commercials have to be the combination of the right actors at the right moment, the right premise.
And I think also just coming off of her role in Barbie as the weird Barbie.
The weird Barbie.
I think how like you have that, and so she's like she's kind of like the crazy cat owner, right? And she goes, "You can talk."
And by the way, and the right cat. I think the cat was actually perfect for this.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I kept thinking, funny because my cats were, of course, me in my dark hovel looking at the TV. When that came on, the 2 cats just looked up at the screen like what's happening. So Hellmann's, really nice job and very simple premise. And Kate McKinnon, genius casting. I agree. Mm-hmm. Number 3. Oh my God! When I woke up this morning about this, that's the first one I thought of for some reason. But it was something. It was so, again, hilarious and simple. It felt like an SNL skit that went right. It was State Farm, like a good neighbor.
Yes. I was so nervous you weren't going to have this on
No. This was. Look, Arnold has never been more likable. He was pitch perfect. Neighbor.
Neighbor.
And then at the end, the surprise reunion at the end. Couldn't be better. It felt ad-libbed. It felt natural. It felt like they were like best friends, which they probably are. I think State Farm nailed this perfectly. I loved it.
It was good, yeah. Bah, burr. And then he comes out towards the end. He comes out and he's like, "Help! This woman is in labor."
Actually, it reminded me. I was in Toronto, and I was talking to my friend who moved from San Diego to Toronto with his partner for 20 years. All of a sudden, he's saying a boot. I'm like, what the F's the problem? You're from Michigan. It's about, you lunatic. And I kept trying to teach him about. He goes, a boot. Anyway, he's American. It was like Madonna, and when she became with her British accent when she married Guy Ritchie, I was like, I couldn't take it.
Right.
Anyway, so I banned him from my friend list. All right, so State Farm did a great job. Number 2, this had all the feels to me. This was a perfect and the best, and I'll say this again, the best spot from the NFL in history. Born to Play, that whole extended mini movie of the kid in Africa trying to become an NFL player. You have to look at this. You probably missed it. They did like a preview of it in the first quarter, and then they revealed everything at halftime. It was a movie full of pathos and tension and fantasy and heart. I mean, beautiful, just beautiful. You have to look it up, Jonah. The NFL, it's called Born to Play. It is what every Clydesdale movie commercial combined, yet not so sappy. It was just beautifully done. And it was funny, and it was like kind of fantastical. It was just hit every note. To me, that was NFL, hats off. Tremendous.
Yeah.
And then number one.
And so I know what number one is, because there's no way you'd leave this off
Number
the list.
one is the Dunkins.
Say it with me.
Dunkins.
Oh my God, it was so great.
So had everything I love, everything.
It was so great.
Oh my God, it was hilarious. It was Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Tom Brady, J-Lo. What's his name? Ben Affleck's brother. How do you forget his name now?
Casey
Affleck. Everybody. It felt like a family affair. But here's the best part to me. Yes, the commercial itself in the Super Bowl was perfect, literally perfect. Was when he said, and then Matt Damon was forced. First of all, the premise is they're like this boy band going to storm. Right. They want to be participating in Jennifer Lopez's new album, and they come in these track suits that say the Dunkings instead of Dunkins.
Yep.
And it was like just sad. And Tom Brady's the DJ, I think, in the back, and like Salt and Pepper, it's Sir Mix-a-Lot. Anyway, and then Matt Damon's on the side saying, like, supporting Ben Affleck's rap.
Trying to.
And he says, and at the end he goes, "How'd you like them?" He goes, "Donuts, I'm so sorry."
How do you like them? Donuts, I'm so sorry.
and
it was so good.
Oh my God.
It was so good.
But even the best part is, I didn't even realize this until afterwards. There's 6 supporting spots after this. It was like, that was like the main spot for Super Bowl, but they did it the right way. They didn't repeat themselves. They had 6 different like behind the scenes moments of making of the video. I don't know if you've seen those. Oh my God, they're so funny. So funny when they're Tom Brady's warming up. They're warming up. They're throwing the football through a donut. And Matt Damon he goes, "Oh, did you?" And Tom Brady says, "Did you play high school football, college football?" He goes, "No." He goes, "Don't give him that ego. What are you talking about?" Anyway, it was just very, very funny stuff. And they asked Ben Affleck if he's an influencer, the young girl who's dancing, and she's like, she's an influencer, and with 10 million people on TikTok. And then he said, "Yeah, well, I'm kind of an actor and director." He goes, "You're J-Lo's husband." He's like, yeah. Anyway, felt very, very Travis Kelce for a moment. All right, but anyway, Dunkin' Donuts, nailed it. Number one. But I will say, an honorable mention, which didn't make the top 5, but it warms the cockles of my heart, because it was BMW talking like walking. When Christopher Walken.
That was good, yeah.
Right? It was BMW, so it had to be classy, yet it was funny, but not ha-ha funny. It was just like, and it got to the point it was almost annoying, but it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So, and I take it back, when I flew, as you know, for like 15 years, I would fly back and forth from LA to New York, and twice, and I will sit in the same seat, in the first row aisle, and Christopher Walken happened to sit next to me twice. Oh, I sat next to him twice, and so we had this first flight. We had this kind of like really, really great conversation, and he was just coming off when he was dancing. Remember that commercial when he was dancing everywhere, and he was like, and he was just talking about that, but he was so genuine. So the second time we sat together, it was like just a few months later, and he said, and we had a few cocktails, be honest, and we were just. At that point, we were almost like, remember, it's a 6-hour flight, so we got to get, if you're talking to somebody for 6 hours, you're getting to know these people. And, in my job as an editor, I ask questions for a living from famous people to kind of make them feel comfortable, and he felt great with me, and we just had this great bond, and he kept saying, the most annoying thing for me is that people try to talk like me. He goes, "You think I talk?" And I was just about to respond to him in my Christopher Walken. Thank God he stopped me, because I was like 2 cocktails in, I was going to go and it somehow came out like De Niro and Taxi Driver. It was like this horrible. And he goes, "I appreciate you, Rich, because you have not tried to talk like me." That's the number one. Honestly, it's like saying, remember I told you when I trying to find my partner Marco at Home Depot, and I can't find him because there's no phone service, and I'm screaming his name, and the entire store says Polo, Marco, Polo, and they think they're being funny. It's like literally my life. It's like I can't say. So that's exactly what Christopher Walken's saying, that everyone thinks they're clever for trying to be. Because everyone has a Christopher Walken impression. Anyway, I thought of that when that must have been the premise for him to say, everyone tries to talk like me. So that's kind of like, so I appreciated that a lot. And BMW did a classy, funny, kind of like appropriate type of commercial. So good for them.
Yes, that was a good one.
Anyone I missed on my list?
No. I basically, for me, it was Dunk Kings and State Farm, and then there were a couple other slightly entertaining ones. But those two were the ones that got me.
Okay.
This happened a couple years ago, and just nostalgia reasons. I grew up as a kid. I was the age group for all of the '80s and '90s Arnold movies. So anything to this day, at this moment, anything with Arnold in it, I'm in. I'm like, and then to your point, when he was actually like funny, like it was like really funny and making fun of his.
He was perfect. He was perfect.
Yeah.
That's a thing that walked away.
And I saw something.
A good
really
neighbor.
Cool. Yeah, really cool. Like a little underlying story is how, and I heard this from Arnold, is how when he first got to Hollywood, basically everyone was like, "You're never gonna make it because your accent," and so here he is, kind of. Let's be honest, at the tail end of his, he's getting there.
Yeah.
And it's come full circle. He's now doing a commercial based on his accent. So
he's basically doing, he's about to be like starring in Cocoon 7 Transformers or something. I'll be back. Maybe not. Not in this lifetime. But he's I think the same thing with Walken. They kind of play into their weaknesses, or they play into their, they kind of leaned into that. So I think it's good.
They did, yeah.
So these are the worst 5. Number 5, in order, descending order. Number 5, did you see the drumstick ice cream cone?
Yeah, out of nowhere. I was like, what?
First of all, here's something weird. I was actually having a drumstick. I haven't had a drumstick in, 12 years, 15 years. I had a drumstick in my hand when this came on. I went, what? I just bought it for some reason to watch the Super Bowl. Anyway, it was stupid. It was just a stupid commercial. It was just, it made me think, they have $7 million to waste.
Well, let me remind you, this is your list of the worst commercials. So
I know.
Let's not spend too much time on them.
I'm saying, but it was just stupid. It was like, what is this stupid commercial? It's stupid. I was like, not happy. What the?
And you threw your drumstick?
Yeah,
like,
well,
I don't want it anymore.
I kind of like, but what happened? Well, that was weird. I was ice cream cone. Let me be clear about what I was doing just there. What's a Temu or Timu or that fucking shopping channel called Timu or Temu? Did you see this?
Yeah.
They had 2 or 3 of commercials, the same commercial. I'm like, that's when the only time I would run to the bathroom because I knew I wouldn't want to see this again. It was terrible. Anyway, so hate them, go away. The biggest swing and my biggest hope for success was Homes.com. Full disclosure, I was up for a huge job there. I didn't get it. I mean, I did get it, but they didn't offer me enough money, so I didn't take it. But when I heard Dan Levy was going to be the star of the commercial series, there's 3 different commercials that they paid. They paid upwards to $30 million for these 3 or 4 spots. Epically, though, it was so confusing. No one understood what they were doing. I don't understand. I mean, and I know what the company's new direction is, so just because of my process of going through that. And even for me, it was unclear what they were trying to do. The promise is that they're trying to get more information about the neighborhoods that people are listing their homes, so they become better than anything else to go find your right house. That it tells you what school's next to you, what's the neighborhood really like. But it's not clear. It was like a weird thing. Anyway, so it was muddled. I love simplicity and messaging, and they did not do that. It was very convoluted. So, and even Dan Levy couldn't save it, and he can say, he can, from Schitt's Creek, he's funny as hell, and he couldn't do it. Number 2, second worst commercial, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Political Action Committee commercial. First of all, let's put aside the fact that he is, what's the term, a fucking lunatic. His beliefs and his conspiracies and his most annoying voice in history aside, the fact that I don't know if you saw this, he picked up his uncle's commercial from 1960 campaign when John F. Kennedy Jr. won the presidency. The campaign that was most famous, he was known for, was a cartoon, black and white, with a jingle about, this is Kennedy. They completely picked up this ad. They superimposed Robert Kennedy's ugly mug into John Kennedy's face, and they ran the same commercial. as John Kennedy did successfully in 1960. 1960. It is 63 years ago. Anyway, it was the most annoying. First of all, instantly when that happened, the entire Kennedy family, cousins, dogs, pet owners, neighbors, went on every platform and said, "This man's a lunatic. I cannot believe he did this to our family. He should be stopped." Anyway, and he said, "Yeah, but whatever."
I'm curious to hear what number one is because.
Only worse than that. Yeah, the only thing that could top this was, wait, say it with me, who's bigger than the Kennedys in America? Jesus. Jesus Christ. What the F? These people appropriating Jesus Christ for 2 commercials that were just 1 and 1A as the most head exploding, appropriating, disgusting, frankly, commercial to spend $20 million. You know what? Give $20 million to a food shelter. How's that for Jesus-like behavior? Washing feet. Oh my God. I cannot even be. Suffice to say, if you Google Jesus Super Bowl, should not be a commercial. The first thing you see. And sure enough, there it is. The worst, the worst, the worst. Those are my 5 worst. Anything that I missed on your list?
No, I'm not going to waste my time talking about the worst commercials.
Okay. So, overall, I will say the Super Bowl Sunday was a near 10 in the experience. I mean, it was like even the pre-show, which I literally been hating the past 4 or 5 years because they're like, oh my God. Even things, random things like what's his name? The DJ that played during the commercials. He was great.
Well, to your point earlier, I think Vegas played a lot in that. Like just the whole, like the week leading up to it, just Vegas is just built for this, and it's just Radio Row and all these things. Like it's just like they don't have to figure out where they're going to set these things up. It's just like, oh, Vegas, like there's just like the town was built for people to come in and do this. So
it was pretty seamless. It was pretty seamless. Even the streakers, that came on in the third quarter, they were like, not streakers, they were 2 drunk guys with their shirts off. I mean, Usher had less clothes just 10 minutes earlier, so it wasn't exactly a big scandal. I think Vegas handled itself fantastically well. It supports everything going forward for any big spectacle to happen there. Good for them. Certainly supports my last week's asshole of the week was the mayor of Las Vegas, Carolyn Goodman, saying the Oakland A's should find a new home. No, they shouldn't. They should be right there in Las Vegas. Speaking of which, and if you're done with the Super Bowl, we can transition into the Aaron Rodgers Asshole of the Week award.
Yay!
No surprise, because this person who wins this award could have easily been. This award could have been named for this person as well. It was a close call between Aaron Rodgers and this person. And to no surprise to anyone who knows anything about culture and anything, is Kanye West. Kanye West is the Aaron Rodgers Asshole of the Week award winner. And I'll tell you why. In an otherwise celebratory week leading to the Super Bowl, Ye admits to receiving, in an interview, happily admits to receiving oral sex from his wife on a gondola in Italy, in Venice, in public. He's waving to the crowd. He's doing this to his wife. And says it. Google this. I'm not making this up. Second, this is only one of several reasons why he's the asshole. He's the runaway winner of Asshole of the Week. Also, Kanye West found out where Taylor Swift's and Kelsey and Mahomes' family box was going to be. He tried to purchase all the seats directly under the box.
Yeah.
They said, and then Taylor Swift said, not so much. So she bought the seats. So, because we're living in Taylor's world. All right.
I'm richer than you. I'm going to buy these seats.
Right. Ye dropped a new album this week, the same week as Taylor Swift is still dominating the world. And wait for it, Beyonce drops 2 new songs. And Taylor Swift, with a decade-old album, still outsells Kanye's new album. Woohoo, sorry. All right. Then on that album, he goes on and mentions Taylor Swift, gratuitously with no rhyme or reason to it. There's no logical, lyrical reason why he's mentioning her. He wants to be part of the conversation that she's dominating.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then he goes on at the airport, leaving Las Vegas. He couldn't leave well enough alone. He's on TMZ on an epic anti-Semitic rant, claiming at some point that the Jews and blacks are the same people. So when you tell me that Shaquille O'Neal and Rabbi Moshe are the same people, then you tell me exactly what's going on with that man's brain. He's literally, sadly, an ill person that needs help. And yes, I admit he's crazy, but he needs to go far away, far, far away. Anyway, and last thing I'll say about this. Last thing I'll say about anything. I do. You have anything to say about Kanye? Do you agree?
I do not. I do not.
You don't want to get anywhere near there.
I have zero to say about that man.
Okay. All right. Probably the best policy. All right. The two things I'll say, 202.4, that is the million people across all platforms making this Super Bowl the most watched television event in history, ever.
Yep.
202.4 million people. All right. Last thing I'll say, I'll agree with Howard Stern when he said this. At this point of this romance, to end the Super Bowl how it started, Tavis, Taylor, and Travis Kelce this has to conclude with the most epic wedding ever. The idea of those two breaking up after truly the spectacle that has been magnified by the two most biggest powerful forces in America, which are music and pop culture and football together by these two megastars, it better end in a wedding. If not, they're going to have to answer to me and to say, so anyway, exactly. Anyway, Jonah, this puts a bow on season 4. I'm very, very happy with everything. And I can't wait for season 5. Wait for us in a few weeks.
Can't wait. We're going to take a little hiatus. We'll be back rocking and ready to go with some new revamped stuff. But yeah, that's it. That's it, gang. Season 4 is a wrap. And I guess we'll see everyone at the wedding.
At the wedding. Go on YouTube, subscribe. Don't miss anything.
That's right. You can listen to us everywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Podbean, all the great platforms. You can also find us socially on Instagram and X, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. Just head to any of those platforms and in the search bar type in Sports of Course with Jonah and RPF, and we'll pop right up for your listening pleasure. And be sure to like, subscribe, follow, all the stuff.
Jonah, could you not do a Dunkings? Can we do like a version of the Dunkings? That's kind of, we have to figure this out.
We'll work on something for season 5.
Yes, okay.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in for the entire season, and we will see you on the next one.